Trump has told so many lies, and his surrogates are at the point that they spun so much that they've run out of energy for the spin. So now they're just straight out lying when they come on TV. Here is Boris Epstein, a Trump surrogate, and he's going to be interviewed by Craig Melvin. And this guy is just going to straight out start lying about Trump and the things he says and his positions. Check this out.
Boris Epstein is a Republican strategist. He is also a senior advisor to the Trump campaign. We always appreciate your time. You know what would help a lot of folks make sense of the complex web that seems to be his finances? If he would just release his tax returns.
Actually, Craig, it wouldn't. Tax returns, as I'm sure you know from being in business and personally, don't show what you own. They only show income. And that's
but it would give a lot of folks, in addition to peace of mind, it would help a lot of folks perhaps understand more about Donald Trump's finances.
Have you ever?
All right, so it's okay. That's lie number one. Okay, a regular person's tax return basically shows income. It doesn't really show a lot of assets. Now, if you own a home, obviously, if it's not paid for, there's an interest expense on the home. If you got a second home, there's an interest expense there. And that's picked up through the itemization of the interest deduction, okay? If you're contributing money to charities, etc., that's picked up. There's a lot of stuff that's picked up on the tax return, not on the actual return itself, but on the supporting documentation, on your various schedules. And Donald Trump has schedules up the ass. So you could tell a hell of a lot about Donald Trump, his finances, the assets that he has, and obviously you could take the returns and then track down the actual debt that he has. The tax return is not going to show the debts, but it's going to show where he basically paid interest to banks, etc. So yeah, there's a lot of information that you can glean from a tax return, and then you do the investigation on the return itself, on the supporting documentation, and that's how you tell where the bodies are buried. So Boris, call bullshit on that. And then number two, and he's going to mention not releasing returns while he's under audit. He can release the returns that have already been audited and cleared through the audit. That's another bullshit story that he's trying to tell us.
Read a tax return?
I have and filed a number of them as well.
They're very complicated, and they wouldn't help any human being understand his business. The financial disclosure that he's put out there.
But he said he would do it. He told you he would do it. He told a number of other reporters that he would do it. This is before he started saying, I'm being audited, I'll have to wait. But he said he would do it, and now he's saying he's not going to do it.
So he lied.
Attorney from Steptoe & Johnson I was on a different show said specifically that he would never let a client who's undergoing an audit release their tax return. So, and that's that story. The story was incorrect in the New York Times. If me and you owned a piece of property together, 50-50, it's very plausible that you would be responsible for all the debt, and now you would own the equity. And that's exactly what Donald Trump has done because he's such a strong negotiator.
That's bullshit. If we both own a piece of property 50-50, okay, unless it's one of those deals that were taking place back in, I think it was 1980, I want to say 1980, 1981, in California. There, and it wasn't a scam, but it really took advantage of people. There were people that would come in and provide you with a down payment in order to obtain a home. You did have to have income, or you had to be working, etc., etc., etc. Okay, you signed an agreement with them. They would provide you with the down payment. From the point that the property was acquired, okay, you guys were 50-50 partners in it. Now, you were responsible for making the payments on the debt itself, and the contracts normally ran about 2 years. At the end of 2 years, you were obligated, first of all, to cash them out, which meant that you had to give them 50% of the equity that was in the increase in the equity. If the equity went up. If the equity went down, that's another story. But at that time, equities were going up. So they were entitled to 50% of the increase in the equity plus the money that they had invested in it originally back. And you were, in fact, responsible to make the payments on the house. So basically what you were doing is the payment you were making, regardless of how much those payments went to equity, half of the money you were paying was going to the other body. Nobody these days is stupid enough, okay, in order to make a deal like that unless they had a gun to their head. And these days, anybody dealing with Donald Trump, you're crazy to make a deal like that. I'm not saying there aren't any crazy people out there, but what Boris is talking about is highly, highly, highly unlikely.
So entities want to hand in on the partnerships, but he's not obligated for the debt.
And Donald Trump is perfectly fine with being the only candidate in modern political history for President of the United States to not release a U.S. tax return. He's fine with that.
He's followed the law to a T. He's followed the rules and regulations. And the same absolutely cannot be said for the Clinton campaign. It was pretty rich for Brian Fallon to be talking about transparency when we all know Hillary Clinton lied to Congress about turning over her emails.
While I have you here, I do want to get you to respond to the top of the broadcast. You were not here. We had some guests on. They were somewhat critical of your boss.
Positive?
They were a bit critical. Javier Palomares, who of course president of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This is his take on Donald Trump's latest comments on immigration. Here it is.
Okay.
I don't know if Donald Trump is a racist. I think he's worse than that. I think he's a manipulator. Yeah, you know, racism is nothing more than ignorance. But a manipulator, this is somebody who knows what he's doing and is trying to manipulate the Hispanic community. He cannot unring the bell. He started his campaign denouncing the Hispanic community, denigrating the Hispanic community. It is too late, and this is way too little. It's not going to change anything.
What's behind his softening?
I guess we know who Javier is voting for, but he's incorrect and he's wrong, and there's no reason to use terms and epithets like racism. That's not what's going on here. Donald Trump.
Well, he said he did know whether he was.
He has no idea about anything about Donald Trump because obviously he doesn't know the man as I do in this campaign does. Donald Trump has said consistently that he will make sure that illegal immigrants or criminals are out of this country. They're deported. So crimes like the murder of Kate Stanley in San Francisco doesn't happen. Sanctuary cities will be put to an end. E-Verify will be put in place. He's been consistent on that. He's also been consistent on saying that the illegal immigrants who are not criminals will be treated in accordance with the law.
Okay, see, now that's a lie. And there's too much tape out there where Donald Trump said everybody's got to go, and maybe, we could find a way for them to come back legally, but they got to go. And there were going to be these immigration police that were going to go out there and round up all illegal immigrants and deport them. That's exactly what they said. Now this guy's going to try to, he's not even spinning. He's going to lie and say that's not what Trump said, and that's exactly what Trump said.
That's not Constitution, and that's not true. Is the key, Craig.
Boris, he spent the better part of 6 months talking about a deportation force. He talked about getting all the 11 million or so illegal immigrants in this country, get them out of this country. Not only did he do it, one could argue that it was that argument that really propelled him to the top of the Republican primary heap. And now I'll
disagree with that.
Well, you would not disagree with the fact that immigration-wise and continues to be one of the cornerstones of his campaign. Now all of a sudden, here we are 75 days before the election, and he's saying, well, you know what, not amnesty, they'll pay back taxes, but we're going to figure out a way.
Listen, Hillary Clinton has a 100-day amnesty plan.
This isn't about
it's about a binary choice.
This isn't about Hillary Clinton. This conversation is about what is obviously a flip-flop. It's
not a flip-flop, and I wouldn't editorialize like that if I were you in your chair, right? There's no reason to do that. It is not a flip-flop.
We call a spade a spade, Boris.
What it is, Craig, is it is a statement of a policy that will be expanded upon. And again, the key is this.
It's a fucking flip-flop. What he is expounding now is the Jeb Bush plan, the Marco Rubio plan, the John Kasich plan. The only plan that it's not espousing is Ted Cruz, because Ted Cruz is for getting everybody out just like Trump. He followed behind Trump. So it is a goddamn flip-flop. He got people out of the goddamn race by jumping on them when they espouse the same thing that he's talking about now. So it's a goddamn flip-flop. And Craig Melvin needed to hold this guy's feet to the fire, and it looks like he was trying to do that.
Sanctuary cities, putting E-Verify into place, deporting illegal immigrants or criminals. Do you know that under Obama, Clinton, 300,000 illegal immigrants or criminals have gotten to stay in this country? That is absolutely unacceptable, and that's why murders.
This White House has also deported more illegal immigrants than any administration prior.
But they haven't done enough.
But you concede that. I mean, Bush included.
And then here they go with when they get caught. Because Obama has deported more illegal immigrants than any other president, including Bush. Now, and it's like 2.3 or 2.5 million people. And this guy's got the balls to say, oh, it's not enough. What was he supposed to do? Deport all 11 million? Nah, bullshit. Bullshit. He got caught, and now he's trying to divert and make a different claim of insufficiency. That doesn't fly.
Numbers, but they have not done enough because sanctuary cities are still in place. Murders by illegal immigrants or criminals continue to happen. Donald Trump will put an end to that when he's president, and it has nothing to do with race or background or ethnicity.
What happened
Bullshit.
To the Muslim ban? What happened to the Muslim ban?
Donald Trump is running for all America.
What happened to the Muslim ban? Why did he stop talking about the Muslim ban?
We're very clear on that we will put an end right as of now. There'll be a stop on entry into America of folks who are from countries that export terrorism until we figure out extreme vetting solutions. That's what will be in place.
You can appreciate how to a lot of folks.
By the way, that was a lie too, because first he said there was going to be a ban on all Muslims coming into the country. Well, hell, that's unconstitutional, so that don't work. Then he said there was going to be a ban from all Muslims from areas that were known to promote terrorism. Well, that bullshit ain't true. Then he said there would be a ban and extreme vetting on all countries that had a problem with the promotion of terrorism. Well, hell, we know that ain't true either, because there ain't going to be no goddamn ban and heavy vetting on countries like Germany, where obviously there have been attacks, countries like France, a lot of attacks, Belgium, a lot of attacks, hell, Saudi Arabia, they got issues over there. And they damn sure ain't gonna fuck with Saudi Arabia because of the oil situation. So Donald Trump is basically full of bullshit. Now, as far as overall vetting of everybody coming in, yes, absolutely. No problem with that whatsoever. But for him to try to be as specific as he's being, as far as basically he's talking about Muslims, that ain't gonna fly.
This looks like a classic case of political opportunism. The poll, 75 days out, I'm sure the new team comes in, they look at the polls, and like, you're polling in the single digits with black voters. You're polling in barely the double digits with brown voters. We've got to do something. There's none of that here. This is not a result of polling. This is not a result of anything like that.
You're right, Craig. Unfortunately, you didn't hit the main one. You didn't hit the white suburban women polls that he's dropping with, because white women, for whatever reason, take a dim view of candidates that climb all over the minorities. And he is not reaching out to Hispanics and to blacks. He's trying to reach back in and snatch up those white women, okay, in order to boost his numbers. If he gets any black and Hispanics, that's just gravy. But he's trying to increase his numbers with white men, especially white men that aren't college educated, and he's trying to pull in those white women, those white suburban women, because he knows he's got a snowball chance in hell of winning an election unless he can pull those numbers in and try to at least increase, if not expand, his tent.
campaign is not about the operatives, Craig, and you know that. This campaign is about Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, as he goes around this country and speaks to folks, just like he said last night, of course the policies will continue to be clarified. He's someone who's out there talking to the people and giving press conferences. You know, it's been 264 days since Hillary Clinton has been talking to the people and giving press conferences. What is she doing? And her policy, again, is 100-day amnesty plan. That is night and day between what Donald Trump is proposing, which will keep Americans and American workers safe, and Hillary Clinton, which will, put our borders wide open, make them wide open, and increase Syrian refugee influx by 550%. That's a huge problem, huge security issue for America.
This Donald Trump's campaign is about nothing other than optics. That's all it is. He's got no plans. He's got nothing that's concrete. All he wants to do is look good and project a false image, an image that a lot of people have no problem in migrating towards. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, he's got absolutely nothing there. So again, I say his campaign is 100% about optics. And he's been lying. Now all of his guys are lying. Doesn't matter what color they are, white, I don't know what this guy is, Jewish, Hispanic, I don't know. I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. Boris Epstein, you know, maybe he's Jewish, I don't know. Doesn't matter. The black guys, he's got all those phony pastors like Daryl Scott. He had another, Ken Blackwell. And then there was a guy on this morning. I didn't know what the hell this guy was talking about. And then he's got, his regular white guys that are doing it. But they all share one distinct characteristic. They all are now lying. They are lying through their teeth.
You said a number of things there that aren't true, but we're out of time.
You can't just do that.
Thank you.
That's not fair.
Thank you for your time.
It might not have been fair, but it was accurate because he was getting ready to take you to the woodshed on the lies you just told.